Welcome back, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. Walter here, in the workshop, at the workbench. You ever wonder, you ever see those Japanese wood hand playing competitions and how thin the shavings are and they stay together? One good gust of wind and they're gone. Well, it's not all just the plane. That's 99% of it. But the type of wood that you plane makes a big difference. I'm not certain, but I believe they're using Japanese yellow cedar. This is the sapwood from tulip poplar. That's as thin as I can get it. The other thing I was thinking about was, you ever notice when you're trying to plane a square edge and it either goes off to one side or the other? Therein lies the reason a slightly cambered blade will help you. Let's say that the board is high on this side. If you're getting a proper shaving off of a cambered blade, what you can do is you move your plane over to where it's almost off the edge opposite. And what you should get is a shaving only on the one side, on this side. If you want to take a shaving off of the other side, you move it over to the other side of the plane. Okay? So I'm not getting a full shaving. Then you go down the middle, and you have a full shaving. So I call that steering your plane. So you want to steer your board into square. Go to one side, you're going to get little to no, I don't know if you can see that. You're getting a feathered edge on one side. See this side here? You're getting a feathered edge where your camber is running out. And you do it on the other side. You should get the opposite. Didn't quite get a shaving I can show you. Yeah, it's too small. But you're getting the same feathering on one side. So enough of that. We got some mail. There we go. Now we take a real shaving. We got some mail. No, it's not from Amazon Prime. I'm curious to see what's in this package. Bubble wrap. That's a bubble wrap. Now this package weighed, and it doesn't say what it weighed. I have a scale here. £2.376. So a little over 2 pounds for two things. Ooh, look at that. So what we have here are two old irons. We're going to have to do a plane build. Look at that chip breaker. Holy cow. That's old school. Nice bevels on the top. Now this one says, oh boy, I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on that to figure out what that says. But it does say warranted, and it's got a beehive. I'm going to have to get a magnifying glass. This one also has a hefty chip breaker on it. Nice bevel. And this one, I can't tell what it says. Also warranted. But you can see where prior users would pound on this with a hammer to adjust it, and a previous owner ground this all off. I'm going to probably have to do a little work on that. Not much rust, but I will tell you, these are what's known as laminated steel. So, one of the reasons why these are called irons is because the blade is made of iron. Not steel, iron. Then they forge weld. See the color change from here forward? They forge weld a thin piece of high carbon crucible steel. That was very expensive. So the iron, which is tapered, goes from thin to thick. And then the steel is where the cutting edge is. Very similar to the way the Japanese make their chisels and such. Here too, tapered iron, steel from here forward. Now, these from back to front are far from flat, nor do they need to be. They only really need to be flat from the screw channel forward or just the front inch. So I'm curious, because there is some rust pitting, I'm curious to see how flat they really are. I'll get into these more when I do the plane build. We're going to need more paper towel. We're out of paper towel. You probably wonder, I throw stuff over there all the time. That's because that's where I have my buckets and piles of shavings, and I do a clean out now and then. I know, it's silly. So this is the 180 grit diamond stone. I'm just going to lightly I'm not getting into a big deal here tonight because this is a real quick video. Couple drops of oil or lapping fluid, and I'm just going to go from the slot to the tip and just give it a few rubs. See, yeah, it's probably not going to be worth trying to flatten it because it's touching here and it's touching at the cutting edge. And as you can see, this is quite well cambered. I'm going to be bringing the grinding machine in here. So I probably won't do a lot of flattening on this. What I will probably do is I will more than likely be using the David Charlesworth ruler technique, even from the beginning. Take it all the way out to the edge and just give it a few passes back and forth, and let's see if we can even get an edge on it. Yeah, see, there's a lot of rust pitting. There's a lot of rust pitting. But will that stop him? No. No, no, no. That will not stop him. I will get an edge on these because I want to build a couple of wooden planes with them. I don't think it'll be too hard. So that's this one. And the cutting edge itself, the bevel is pretty messed up. It looks like it was done entirely, by the feel of it, was done entirely freehand. And I would say it was done by a left-hander. The nice thing about these irons is they sharpen fast because they're not all steel. You see this? See how quick you can start to pull up an edge? Maybe I need a little more light here. How's that? See how that quickly that brings up an edge? I'm sure if I take this against the grinder, get it square, and the problem with these old irons, especially after people have worked with them over the years, is generally speaking, like this side is not straight. This side is straighter, so I'll probably work off of this side as square. I might even take this to a machinist. I might even take this to a machinist and have him, what do we have for a cutting edge? 2.5. So that gives me some forgiveness. So we've got an inch almost from this side to the slot, and on this side, which is the wiggly side, it's a little bit extra. So it's very likely that if we use this as a datum surface, because that doesn't look like this was ever altered, and I have them put this in a parallel grinder, that they could grind this side to match this side. I don't know. I may not want to put the money into it. So that's this one. And the chip breaker, the chip breakers fits. We might need to do a little bit of work on that. Might need to do a little work on that. This one has a little less steel. Looking at it, it is severely bent. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the plane that this was in didn't fall on the floor one time. But it's only bent from the screw hole to the top. Not a big deal. Let's look at the back. Okay. This one shows a little bit of potential of being flattened. It's a little neater, but it's very thin steel that's on there. Just a very thin, 1/16 of an inch. Also, once again, honed freehand. Yeah, that's going to need grinder work. But let's see how it works with the ruler technique on this one. Just get that front edge on the stone. All right. Touching here. Can you see it? Can you see? Yeah, right there. It's touching over here and over here. So I think we can make something with these. What do you think? Might take something a little coarser than 180 grit, but yeah, it'll come along. It'll come along. If not, I will do the old woodsman's technique, and that is you forget the ruler and you lay the back down and you stick your fingers under the back and you just lift it up a bit. And there you go. You can see it up front there. See that front edge up here starting to form? There it is, right there. You can see it up here now. Doesn't quite go all the way over, but that's the other way you can do it. I would like one of these to be a smoother. And maybe the other one to be maybe a 4-plane. All right, this one, the chip breaker fits pretty good. I see a little tiny bit of light on that one. But I also see where the light's coming in, there's corrosion on the iron. And this one, This one's actually touching in the middle, but not on this side. So a lot of things can be done to correct that. We can give it a little tap. I prefer to try to tap it into place than to grind away, because you can't put metal back. So what we would do is we would go to a hard wood surface, and you line up the bevel, and using a soft mallet, tap, 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 tap. And that's also realizing that the back of this blade is not flat yet. And that made a minor difference. So there is hope for these. That's about it for today. Let me know what you think. This one, the sides on both the cap iron and the plain iron don't look like they've been altered. Just the top, which I'm going to file that smooth. This one, it looks like this one side has been altered, maybe to get it to fit in a plane. And I think I'm going to want to either mark that out myself and file it, because see, that's the other thing I wanted to point out. That's the other thing. If you have an iron, okay? If it's iron, a file should touch it. See that? But if it's steel, your file shouldn't touch it. So there's a good chance what I might do is clamp this between two pieces of wood, and then what I'll do is file this. But see, the file will touch the iron. So I can work that just a little at a time. See that? How quick that goes? And then there's a method too, where you can take your file and you go this way, and that polishes it. Granted, this is not a really smooth file, but we shall see. Yep. See, I'll take that top and I'll make that pretty. And then what I'll do is I'll take it to the diamond plates afterwards. We just want to get rid of that deformed steel that's up there. Yep. And then you just take it to the diamond plate. And see how nice it is now? Nice and smooth. Nothing sharp to cut your finger on. So let me know what you think we should make out of these. It's going to take some planning. Going to take a little bit of cleaning, de-rusting, a lot of flattening to get it so it can cut. Yeah. We're going to have to do some work. You know, that iron may actually be bent. Yes. Oh, I see it now. Can you see it? It's bent here, causing this front edge to come up. So this whole thing has to go down. We'll fix it. Jointer, 4-plane, smoothing plane. I think one will be a jack or a 4, something we can use all the time. And then the other one, I'm feeling this one's talking to me. This one's telling me it wants to be a smoother. And I think what we'll do is we'll make this one, this chip breaker, we'll pretty up this chip breaker to look like this one with the bevels on it. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Head out to your shop. Give some thought to making some hand planes, because we're going to make some. I don't know when exactly, but we're going to make some. Thanks for coming. So glad you were here. Like, subscribe, and share. Walter out.